Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to replace a splitting gear or a dead motor in the dancing mechanism of snowflake spinners. First, what you want to do, of course, I've already done it, but what you'll want to do is you'll want to slice open the back of the head like so, and don't do that, and then slice down his back like so. So, if I Okay, and this brings you to your next step. What you'll want to do is you'll want to take out this pin. Now, more than likely, this pin will have a black little thing on it. Luckily, this pin doesn't because I already took it apart once, but once you take out that pin, what you'll want to do is slide the arm out of place, then do this. Now, right here is where a spring would usually be attached. So when you do it, deattach that spring. But then this gives you access to the motor. Now, the motor might not be dead. It might be locked up or a wire fell off. So if it's not dead or you think it's dead, start manually moving it like so. And if it still doesn't move, then what you'll want to do, of course, is flip it around, and these two wires will be attached to these points. Now, the next thing you'll want to do is you'll want to take out this pin and this pin, and the black thing is what I'm talking about. Now, taking them out is actually very tricky, even for me. So what I have been doing is I take a little knife and I try to cut like underneath and then slide underneath and bend it up somewhat. And then I can probably take a screwdriver and try to take it off. I already took out that one. Now you'll want to take out these pins, and here's how. So you would take another pin, the pin that you got out of this arm where the spinning arm goes, and you'll want to push them in like so until they're sticking out of the back. Now, since you got both plates off, what you want to do is you want to unscrew this screw that's in there, and that screw in there, that screw, and that screw. Once you have taken off both legs, you are now left with the mechanism. And to replace the motor, you actually have to open the mechanism entirely. Same with replacing the gear. And after you remove that screw, and that screw, you are good to go. Now you can just open the mechanism like so and expose the inside, which everything just kind of moved out of place. So move this gear back. It does not want to go. Okay, so then what you would do if you replace the gear is just replace that gear right there with a new one. Now, or replace this gear if it's stripped or split. Now, how to replace a dead motor is really tricky. If you have a whole new piece like this with another motor that works, then great, because all you would have to do is take off this gear, take out that spinning knob, and put it in the other frame piece, and then rewire these two orange wires back to that new motor. However, I'm guessing some of you don't have that, so what you would actually have to do is you need some soldering seals and a solder sucker, and suck and get rid of all that solder right there, and then get rid of all that solder, and that solder, take off those two orange things known as capacitors, take off this cap thing known also as a capacitor, and take off these two orange wires. And then you're going to slide the motor out of place, put in a new one with the same top, which you can just take off of this motor and put on the other motor, rewire everything, and make sure you have this component and these two components also soldered to it. Now, you don't have to solder it back to here, but I would advise doing that. But, yeah, you'll want the two pieces sticking out of the plastic. and then you'll want to put it all back together. And another thing you'll want to make sure is the spinning knob piece is inside that lever, and when you put it back, this little hole lines up with that peg right there, like so, and then so on with this leg and that leg. And when putting this leg back on, you want to make sure these wires go over that and go like that through the leg. Now when you're putting this piece back in, you'll want to make sure that this part, the back lever, is, and that pin is inside in between those two. And then of course you line up the hole with the other hole. Okay, and I got these two plates back together, so now of course what you would do is you move this one up, and then you would slide the spinning arm into this hole and then put the pin back, but I will show you how to do that. So when putting back the spinning arm, you'll want to make sure that the pin goes through this second hole, not this one, these two, the ones that are farthest away from the inside of the mechanism. And the reason why is because if it's on the other hole, it won't spin as well as it should. And now he is now fully assembled, and I will now show you the working hips. Now some of you may have known that, yeah, the gear was split for a while and it was ticking, but I was saving myself from fixing it so I could show a video on how. So yeah.